How much difference has it made that we are in a double income society now where both parents are outside the home working?
Listen, it's changed the dynamics. I mean, I'm 21, Dr. Phil, and you're 22. Somebody was at home more with you, helping you in your schoolwork. My parents, both of my parents are highly educated and they were in education. But when they started having children, someone sort of stayed home to
Right.
support us. It's a lot of us, and someone stayed home to help us. Now you have both parents trying to live this American dream. And again, they're leaving it all up to the teachers to do everything. And so I think that has made a tremendous um, uh, impact or issue in our children. Both parents are working. When I was a principal, Doc, let me tell you something. Let's say I needed to speak to a parent about the baby. Sometimes I would get the older sibling. They would say, well, my mama and daddy are working, and so I'm coming. So let's say, there's a third grader. I got the sixth grader coming to talk to me about the third grader. So I would end up telling the parents, no, one of you all got to come talk to me. And so I think it's made an issue in how we do things at home with children. And so, yeah, they're both working. I ask parents, how often do you read to your baby? How often do you have conversations with your children? Think about it, Dr. Phil. Like I said, you're 22, I'm 21. I have an 18-year-old who just won this year the Apple Swift Award. But watch this. When he comes home, he wants to say one word. Son, how was your day? Good. No, 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 no. How was your day? What did you do? What happened at school? It's like I'm having to pull it out of him, but I
Right.
know that I have to pull it out of him. A lot of parents accept that. A lot of parents, say he's in his room, and the students go days without having a conversation with the parents. That's unacceptable, and that's the reason why we have a lot of things that are happening and we both know things that are happening in schools with crime, and the parent is the first to say, I did not know that was happening. You did not know because you were not paying attention to your child.
There's an interesting body of literature out there. And there's one particular study. I don't recall the author of it, but I could find it. But there was a 1-to-1 inverse correlation between the number of words spoken in the home and the child's behavior. So a child would say, okay, can I go do this or that? Nope. Well, why not? Because I said no. Versus a home where they say, can I go do this? No. Why not? Well, you can't do it because the roads are icy and I don't think it's safe for you to do it. So I want you to stay home tonight where I'm not concerned that you're going to get into a wreck or what. And so when the parent shared the reasoning and the child could then internalize that, because all discipline ultimately needs to become self-discipline. But without that, there's no message for the child to internalize. And then that translates into a lack of self-discipline later. It snowballs downhill, right? When there's just no communication between the parent and the child.
Yes, yes. Dr. Phil, we look at that study. I know exactly what you're talking about, and we look at it from a cultural perspective. In certain cultures, it's what I say and it goes, right? And so I'm not going to give you an explanation. And in certain other cultures, they express the reason as to why you should not do it. And then it goes on to vocabulary development of different groups and different ethnic groups. So I know exactly the particular research that you were talking about. And it goes on to talk about how many words the kids from a certain ethnic group come to school with. So many come with 600 words, for a period, and some come with 1,000 words and two. I know exactly what it is. So true.
My parents always told me, they said, you can argue as long as you want, as long as it's respectful. The second you get disrespectful, the conversation is over. But you can debate till hell wouldn't have it as long as it is respectful. So I really developed some great early debating and negotiation skills because the channel was open as long as I didn't get mouthy.
And if you look at these new day kids, as we call them, the Z kids, they are very expressive. And a lot of us, if you're my age, sometimes I think it's talking back, but they think of it as expressing themselves and having a viewpoint. And so I'm with you with being able to debate and using your words to express yourself. But then you have a lot of educators, Dr. Phil, that feel like, listen, that's disrespectful. I said no, and it's no, and that's it. And it's a lot of cultural piece behind that as well. And so I'm so with you. Yeah. Dr. Phil, I got an 18-year-old, and he loves to converse back and forth with me on his opinion. And now that he's won all these awards and he's designing apps, Dr. Phil, he thinks he knows more than I know, but I'm grateful for the conversation. I'm grateful that we can have the interchange where he can, I guess, talk to me like he's on the same level as me. Yeah.
Well, when your kids come home, you say, "Where you been?" "Nowhere." "Who'd you see?" "Nobody." "What'd you do?" "Nothing." And the door slams. "No, no, no, no. Open the door. Come back out here. We're going to have a conversation about this." And it may be hard for them to get started, but once they get started, you can't shut them up.
Doc, that is so true. That is so true. And that's getting the parents to know to get started. And a lot of times, I do a lot of SEL. And so I do a lot of SEL with teachers and parents. And a lot of times, if you just keep the conversation going, you'll hear what's hurting them. They will eventually express to you, I'm having problems at school. I don't like my appearance. I don't feel good about myself. But we don't take time to keep pressing to get to those answers. Someone told me the other day, Doc, because the parents are afraid, they don't know what to do when they hear things like, I don't like myself. I don't want to live. They get scared and they shut down and don't know how to go seek resources.
Yeah, they may be intimidated by it, but one of the things that I've always told parents, and it worked really well for me, Robin and I have two boys, and they were 7 years apart, actually. My rule with them was always that if I wanted to talk to them, I wouldn't put them at a table or a chair in front of me. I would say, let's go outside and shoot some baskets, or let's take the dog for a walk or whatever. Because if we were doing something else, even though it was just the two of us, and I could talk to them while we were walking or while we were playing a game of horse out in the basketball court or something, they didn't feel nearly as conspicuous. And I just keep kind of pecking and pecking and pecking. And before long, they tell you everything. They just don't want to feel like they're on the hot seat.
So, Doc, now you the expert in this part. I don't know if that's a daddy thing, because I can't get them to give me halfway of anything. But if my husband, who does what you do, and the kid's father, if they do the basketball or driving in the car, whatever I thought I needed to know, especially like my 30-year-old, they could get it out. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm the educator. I'm the mommy. I should get, but for some reason, I think that works, Dr. Phil, because I'm sitting there pressing, like, wait a minute, A, B, C, the teacher said this, and how do you feel, and whatever. And they could go with their dad and drive around, I guess, and play basketball, or go, I don't know, to the store, and he would come back and be able to tell me everything that was happening. I don't know if that's just what daddies can do, I guess.
Well, they just don't want to feel conspicuous, I think, is the thing about it.